Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I apologize for taking the floor again, but I think one or two observations need to be made here. Every country represented in this organization has a right to a view. Every country represented in this organization has a right to bring to this council any matter which it considers important enough for our consideration. When we brought the matter of this 2 years on from the Russian invasion of Ukraine, we exercised that right. 25 of 32 voting member states exercised that right. I want to stress that. 25 of 32. 7 did not. But they spoke here today, as is their right to do. And in doing so, they seem to conflate two conflicts: Russia-Ukraine, Israel, and Palestine. The point of the declaration which we put here today was not to conflate anything. We were focused on 2 years of an illegality in international law, a violation of the United Nations Charter that set a precedent and disrupted the international legal system and the rules-based system by which we all live, and which, in its absence, results in chaos in the world. We've already begun to see the beginnings of that chaos. We have not yet seen its end. It is evolving before our very eyes. And those of us who believe that illegality can take place, rules can be broken, and we must sit back and not say anything, my delegation has a fundamental difference with them on that. We are a small country, like many small countries around the world, and we depend on the world's rules-based system and commitment to democracy, the rule of law, international humanitarian law for our own protection. If not, we can easily become the victim of any aggressor. That is a fundamental point for us, and I hope my colleagues understand that. Now, in bringing this matter, nobody stops any delegation here from bringing the issue of Israel and Palestine for a discussion in this Permanent Council. And for the information of my colleagues, after the St. Lucia Foreign Minister spoke here on Friday, I approached a number of colleagues to say, just as we are doing with Ukraine and Russia, ought we not to be looking at what's happening in Israel and Gaza? And I've asked those countries which are willing to support me, my delegation, in bringing that matter to this council to identify themselves. So far, 2 have. None of them spoke here today. But I would like to see those who are willing to discuss this put it on the table. Don't just talk about it, do it. Do it. And don't blame the OAS for not discussing it. The OAS is an organization, it's an entity of 32 voting member states and supposedly 34 full member states. But it is not the OAS that generates information as an organization, it is its member states. So if you have this issue burning in your breast, bring it here. Let us discuss it. Let us have a declaration on it, just as we've just done on the question of Ukraine and Russia. But I say this, we cannot ignore what is happening in Ukraine. We cannot ignore Russia's violation of international law. We cannot ignore the repercussions of all of that. And we cannot ignore what is happening to Ukrainian women and children and sit here and compare it with another place and say, because we're comparing it with someplace else, we will do nothing. That cannot be right. This declaration spoke for itself. And I say again, those of you who wish to put Israel and Palestine on the agenda for us to discuss, let us have that discussion. I have already asked colleagues who are willing to talk about it to indicate if they do. And if they do, a declaration will be brought to this Permanent Council. Let me just say one other thing. 25 of the 32 countries supported this declaration. We could have made it a resolution of the Permanent Council, but we didn't. We chose to make it a declaration of like-minded states, as we have a right to do. So I ended there, Mr. Chairman, but to say, in all things that we do here, we have to stand on the side of the rule of law, of international law and the charters of the United Nations and the OAS. There is no doubt that the fundamental issue here is Russia's aggression and invasion of a sovereign state, which threatens the entire world system. Thank you.